Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
My dear friend Daryl Dickinson of Dickinson Cattle Company sent me this, and this is one of the truly greats. He said he called an old classmate and asked what he was doing. And the old classmate replied that he was working on aquathermal treatment of ceramics, aluminum, and steel under a constrained stress environment. Well, Daryl said he was pretty impressed. But upon repeated further inquiry, he found out that his good friend was washing dishes with hot water with his wife's watchful supervision. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a real-life patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of service and, of course, the best of tires. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Hi, Wheels. How you doing? Take it away, buddy.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I don't know what happened to all of our patriots. Hopefully they'll start calling in again tomorrow. And right now it's time for the weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Roger and the crew, they get there early in the morning to serve you. Throw open the doors at 7 o'clock, and they've got the best of rental of tools and equipment for all the different construction projects that you have, including all the mowers and the seeding equipment, the rototillers, and all the, you name it, it's there. I mean, all the way from jackhammers to all kinds of tools at K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway, and the number to call is 678-3122. Right now, here's our weather forecast. Right now, here's our weather forecast.
I apologize, sir. I previewed it to make sure that we had it. It's supposed to be in. It played, but I'm going to see what's the issue and see why it's not playing.
Get back with me immediately when you find out where that weather is, because I want to say thank you to K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And we're expecting some isolated thunder showers and storms today, and I certainly hope it doesn't start any fires. And hopefully in the next little bit we'll have that weather forecast. But I want to say thanks to Roger and the crew at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. All the tools, the best of equipment, everything for you at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Right now, I apologize, I didn't have that weather. Yeah, they said it was ready, but it's not. And we'll have it in a little bit, I'm sure. Right now, I also want to remind you about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, and they are at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Hello, Kevin. Kevin, hello, Cindy, hello, the rest of the crew. They absolutely can clean your clothes, clean your tablecloths, clean your drapes, clean, and everything comes back to you looking brand spanking new. Don't forget, stop in and see them at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And they'll also do your washing, too. Bring your clothes in if you don't have time. They do all the washing, the folding, everything, the ironing for you at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Well, I would appreciate some calls this morning. We had kind of a upset to our schedule. Some of our guests called at the last minute and said, I can't go on the air this morning. I've got a cracked toenail or whatever the excuse was. So we've got some openings this morning, and I'll appreciate your calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say quickly that next week on Thursday, the 26th, we will be at Denny's Restaurant for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Again, I had some calls over the weekend. When's Lunch Bunch? Well, like we've been saying, it's going to be on the 26th. Next week on Thursday. And, of course, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. Great food. That goes without saying. And excellent staff to serve you. And then we give away a lot of door prizes at Lunch Bunch, etc. But you can stop in anytime, all the time, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime you want for the best of food at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, it is a fact, America's Diner. And also our thanks go out to Ramsey Heating and Electric. This warm weather, I'll bet you a lot of you have cranked up that air conditioner way up on high. Well, make sure it keeps running efficiently with a clean air filter. And they've got all your AC air filters at Ramsey Heating and Electric. As a matter of fact, they've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs with the most professional of people serving you at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and the number to call 678-0459. I have a question for you folks out here this morning. Right now, Donald Trump, our president, and Vladimir Putin, Russia, are meeting in Helsinki, Finland, right this moment. Some people on the left have come out and condemned and absolutely criticized the meeting between Trump and Putin. I'm going to ask you in the audience, is it a good thing to do to have a meeting between these two leaders, superpowers, Russia and the United States? Is there anyone out there in Radio Land that thinks this meeting is not a good idea? I'd like to hear your response on this. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call on this, I just got word that they do have the weather ready to go, and quickly, Wheels, hit it. Let's hear what they've got to say.
PRCA
No, Wheels, no, I don't need to hear that. I do need to hear the weather, if you would, please, and we'll try to get it on at a different time. Once again, give me a call if you think the meeting in Helsinki, Finland, between Trump and Putin is not a good idea. I'd like to hear from you. I think, and I'll say it right up front, I think it's great that we get along with Russia. I think it's absolutely good to meet and discuss problems and potential problem areas of the world. I think it's good to cool the rhetoric, which is now worse than it was during the Cold War. And why the left media, Joe Scarborough and so many others, absolutely railing and wailing against this meeting. What are your thoughts about the meeting going on between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin? Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, do you have that weather ready over there?
Yeah, I apologize. The mouse. I only...
Well, don't worry about telling me the life history of the mouse. Let's just play the weather, please.
Yes, sir. Good Monday, and here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting some precipitation for today. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are expected mostly in the morning and then again as we enter into the evening hours. Other than that, partly sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 90 tonight. More isolated thunderstorms could continue with a low of 60 tomorrow. Back to sunshine and relatively hot. High of 90 degrees is what we're expecting. Looks like clear skies and a low of 60 tomorrow night. By Wednesday, sunny and mid-90s. And as we make our way towards the weekend, Thursday, expecting sunny skies, high of 90. And Friday, maybe some rain showers, possible thunderstorms, high of 93. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
And there, finally, we got our weather forecast on. Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, the old saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And that's just how I feel about this meeting with Trump and Putin.
Okay.
If you don't talk to each other, you're not going to get anything done.
Well, let me ask you quickly. I've got another caller waiting. Don't go away, caller number 2. But what harm, honestly, what harm is there in sitting down between the two superpowers and discussing the problems, discussing the shortcomings, and trying to make a situation better? These idiots, and that's what they are on the left. I don't care if it's members of the media or if it's members of the Democratic Party that are criticizing and condemning this. Please, my dear friend Keith Cottom, remember that when Obama did it, all was well in fantasy land. The left thought he was great for sitting down with Putin.
Well, these people are on the left. How would they like to spend a month in Russia? I don't mean in the palace. I mean out in the fields and places like that. Then they can see how oppressed this type of government is. But they can't. They just want to holler and scream and do nothing.
That's a good way to sum it up. Holler, scream, and do and want nothing. Thank you very much. Keith, I hate to rush you off. I've got other calls I want to get in. Thank you very, very much.
Bye-bye.
Caller number 2, I appreciate your opinion. Go ahead. Tell me what you think.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, I think it's a great idea for Trump and Putin to meet. Lot better deals can be worked out face-to-face than can be over the phone or through messengers.
Well, let me ask you, do you have any feelings or any conversation you want to provide over the liberal left, the Democrats from Schumer to Hillary to you name it, Joe Scarborough? All of them are railing against this. Why? What's wrong with having a meeting of the two superpowers?
Well, all I can say to those liberals is they need to shut up and let him do his job. He's doing a darn good job as president, and I think he'll work out a real good deal for us, between us and Putin.
Thank you very much for calling in, Rod. I appreciate that. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay, I'll see you at lunch, buddy.
All right, buddy. We'll look forward to it. You know, come on, folks. What is wrong with sitting down and looking each other in the eye, like Rod just said, and trying to figure out how they can make the world a little better, a little safer between them? And the left, the Democrats, all through this weekend were yelling, "Ah, ha, ha! See, we told you there was collusion between Trump and Putin." What do you mean? You stupid people. How is collusion proven when you have two leaders sitting down and talking about the world's problems? Cool the stupid rhetoric. And the left is ready to start setting their hair on fire. I've never seen anything like this. And they seem to forget, as I will reiterate right now, on an open mic where Obama, a couple of years ago, leaned over and told a Russian representative, "Hey, everything will be okay. Just tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility after the election." The Democrats on the left seem to forget about that. There's collusion. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about our dear friends over at Pomerell Place. They are going to have a health fair, and I just about tipped everything over here. Hang on, folks. Got a little problem with the papers and the water glass. There, everything's okay, and I didn't spill anything. Pomerell Place is going to have on Wednesday, this week Wednesday, a great big health fair. And it's going to be from 8 to noon. They're going to have vendors. They're going to have a lot of prizes to give away. They've got the goodie shop with this delicious basket of food. And they've got a $200 gift basket from Jill's Flower House. All of this and more at Pomerell Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. And the number to call for more information, 677-8212. Now, I urge you, because Cassia Regional is also going to be doing the blood draws over there. This is a great event. Health fair coming up this Wednesday from 8 to noon at Pomerell Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Absolutely. Also, real quick, I want to remind you about Dino Septic Service. Hello. I mean, in this hot weather, they're out there doing a job that, oh, man, 85, 95, 100. You don't want to be standing out there doing it, pumping septic tanks and liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh, but they do it with a smile on their face. Fast, fair, friendly service. Numbers to call, Dino Septic Service, 436-6526. Or in Burley, 678-1638. Absolutely wonderful people serving you with that great big truck that says Smells Cargo. On the way, Dino's Septic Service. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What's wrong with it? And really, I will not jump on anybody if they have an opinion against this. I just want to hear what the reasoning is. What could possibly be wrong? And call me on this, please. It's very, very critical for all of our allies and the United States. What can be wrong with a meeting between Donald Trump, our president, and Vladimir Putin of Russia? And what about the left? What are your thoughts about the left? I mean, Scarborough absolutely wrote a scathing editorial comment that was in our local rag over the weekend. And many others on MSNBC and CNN, they're just tearing the president apart for meeting with Vladimir Putin. But why? Why? What is wrong with it? Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have no idea what their thoughts are. I want to remind you, too, while I'm waiting for your calls, and I know we're coming in, but I'll just pad some time here, and I'll tell you about some really, really good friends of mine, and that's at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call, 678-1191. Don't forget Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists there to serve you with the best of exercises to get you back to being you. Absolutely. You give them a call for an appointment at 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, yeah. Helping you get back to being you. Oh, and I got to tell you, folks, we have somebody back on our program that I absolutely swear by. I mean this. The service is phenomenal at Save On Shells with Anthony, located at 1027 Overland in Burley. You drive by it probably 150 times during the week. Right there on Overland, you can't miss it. He has got all the shells for your pickups. He's got them all. He's got them all in every shape and color. And the service is unbelievable. I just really bought a brand new shell from Anthony at Save On Shells, and boy, I could not believe it. I just sat back and thought, wow, this man is good. I urge you to stop in or give them a call at 312-1525. 312-1525. Save On Shells with Anthony. Excellent man serving you. You give him a call or stop in today. All right, give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While these meetings are going on, and I turned on the television just before the program this morning to kind of follow this a little bit, very well organized and very well paid for protests over in Helsinki, Finland, against the Trump and the Putin meeting. Now, surely all of you out there have an opinion on this. And I really do urge you, I'm kind of keeping track and score here of, so far we've had a couple, absolutely yes, it's a good thing. I'd like to hear from you before the end of this hour, because I do not see anything wrong with sitting down and having a meeting. And they were saying about these organized protests, and they showed the marches. I would imagine that maybe at least, maybe I shouldn't say the percentage this high, but I think 90% of those people that are protesting over in Helsinki haven't got a clue. They were paid. They were told to carry this sign. They were told to say or chant something, and that's what's going on. I bet you 90% have no clue as to the political aspects of what they're protesting. And the same is here in the United States. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Don't make me just sit here and wait for your opinion. I'd like to hear what you have to say about the meeting that's going on right now in Helsinki, Finland. On Tuesdays, don't forget Stoats Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer, has Ag Minutes. And Stoats Equipment Company, located at 119 Overland and Burley, they make your life easier. I'll tell you what, just recently got a tractor from them. They are outstanding with their service, their knowledge, they're great people. They know. And they can help you. Stoats Equipment Company, Tuesdays at, 9:47. They'll have the Ag Minutes. Tomorrow, don't you miss it. All the Ag events and people right here in the Magic Valley. Thank you, Stoats Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer. All right, rise and shine. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think what I'll do right now is give away a dozen cookies. And we always have a lot of fun with this, thanks to our friends over at Sophie's Chatterbox. My goodness sakes, yes. Sophie's Chatterbox right there on the square in Rupert with the very best of eating. I mean, whether it's their restaurant, whether it's their bakery, you'd better stop in and enjoy because, oh, it's exceptional. In the bakery, they make everything, pies and cakes and wedding cakes. Man, they really excel at that. And the cookies, everything. And then their restaurant, I've had people call and say it is absolutely fantastic. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here is the question for the day. And if you are a first-time possible winner, let's limit it to those folks. And I got an easy question for you this morning. The first one to call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What was the name of the ditzy blonde on the TV comedy show Laugh-In? What was the name of she was off the wall, ditzy blonde on the comedy show Laugh-In? What was her name? First person to call and give me the right answer will get a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox. One more time on the question. What was the name of the ditzy blonde on the comedy hour Laugh-In? Okay? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a jingle on the landline. Well, I'm waiting for your call. I would appreciate your giving me a jingle this morning. Don't forget the Major League Baseball All-Star Game tomorrow night. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. They're going to have maybe some big problems with transportation going in and out of the stadium. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Goldie Hawn.
And who is this?
Linda Wilcox.
Linda Wilcox. Now, that says to me that you are possibly of my generation, because a lot of people wouldn't remember way back into the 60s, Goldie Hawn.
I am, so.
Did you enjoy that show?
I did.
That was funny for an hour, and most of it was really good, clean humor. There were some innuendos, but, I mean, I wished we had a comedy show like that again.
Yes, I think so, too.
Goldie Hawn, and all you have to do is call over to Sophie's Chatterbox and tell them when you'll be there for the cookies, and you can go get them. If you get sugar cookies, plain sugar cookies, the rule is you have to share 3 or 4 with me.
Well, I go by your house birding quite often, so I can drop them off.
Hey, thank you so much.
Goodbye.
All right. Linda Wilcox is the winner, and congratulations to her for winning our cookies this morning from Sophie's Chatterbox, and the answer was Goldie Hawn. That was the big career change for Goldie Hawn, and then she propelled herself into a lot of movies and a lot of extra things that made her a ton of money in Hollywood, stardom. So Goldie Hawn, the winner. That's the winning name. Anyhow, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What happened to all my surveyors? Surely you've got an opinion about Russia and whether or not our president, according to the leftist media, should not be sitting down with Vladimir Putin. Give me a call and let me know what your thoughts are. As I said, the left is railing and wailing against this meeting and protests over there in Helsinki. But why? What damage is this going to do to try to sit down and have a face-to-face with each other and maybe work out some problems that will lead to world peace in many areas of the globe? What's the problem with that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Let's see, I was talking about the Major League All-Star Game. You've heard that for All-Star Week back at Washington National Stadium in D.C., they may have a transportation strike, and oh my goodness, is that going to tie things up if they go ahead with that strike. Holy moly, hard enough to get around in that area, but if they have a transportation strike, it's going to hurt the game, it's going to hurt the attendance, it's going to be a mess. That's coming up, the big game tomorrow night. And I'm a nut about baseball, absolutely, and in favor. I haven't seen any Major League Baseball players take a knee or sit during the national anthem. So I salute them. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Okay, just kind of backtrack into the meeting between Trump and Putin.
Yeah. And hold on a second. Caller number 2, don't go away.
Good thing to happen, and I think the only reason the left is so squeamish about it is because that gives Trump another shot that if he succeeds and he's able to get through with Putin and they be able to come to some good agreements and whatever through this, that just takes another feather out of their cap.
Absolutely. You've touched on it right there.
Nothing. They're afraid of any kind of success that Donald Trump has.
You have touched on it. That is the key that unlocks the door. You've hit on it, my friend. It's another worry that the left has that Trump is going to be successful and hurt them, as they should, during the November election. You've hit the nail right on the head.
Well, the thing, too, Zeb, you probably already know this, too, but even the leader of the whole leftist thing, George Soros, he hates Russia, too.
Oh, yeah, but Soros, I think...
With that being said, he hates both Trump and Putin. I mean, and then those two get together.
I honestly believe...
Boy, his days are numbered.
I agree. I honestly believe, however, though, that Soros' money, somewhere down the line, after passing about 13 different hands, he is pretty much involved with all these protests going on in Helsinki right now.
Oh, I'm sure he is. His fingerprints are all over it.
I agree. I appreciate your call. You hit the nail on the head, my friend. God bless you and thank you.
You got it, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello again. You know, one of the plans that Russia has is to first divide America and then divide Europe. And you know what? They're right on target for
Yes,
doing
they are.
that because of their false, way of doing things. But if people could just see what the left is really all about, they would run.
Do you feel that right now in this country, and Wheels, we've got feedback you got to address. Do you feel that in this country right now, Keith, that we are divided, we are separated, we are a divided nation of attitudes that never can heal, or is, in your opinion, a possibility that we can put everything back together again?
Well, one of the things I've noticed is that our community is divided. The Spanish are more leaning to the left, and for what reason, I don't know. I got a good friend that used to work for me that is very much a Democrat, and he just can't seem to see the light.
Yeah.
And this is what the problem is. This one big news commentator on the Mexican stations has really poisoned them.
There is a lot of poison on the air, and there's a lot of poison, to use your term, on both sides of the aisle, and there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of animosity. I don't know, man. I just don't see how we can come together, especially when Obama went to meet or talked about meeting with Vladimir Putin and said the famous off the mic that he thought was off, be sure and tell Vladimir that after the election I'll have more flexibility. That was supposed to be a secretive type comment, but it went over an open mic, and the left never said anything in disparagement about Obama. But now, openly, Trump is meeting with Putin, and the world's coming to an end, according to the left.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. You know, I now have 3 great-granddaughters, and what's in store for them makes me shudder.
Yeah. It's scary. It is very scary what's going on, especially right here in this country, because we've lost, I think, the main goal. And that main goal is striving for the betterment of America, the flag, our Constitution, our value system. And right now on the left, I don't see that.
I don't either. And you know, you can talk to these people, and it's almost like they put their fingers in the air and go blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to listen to you.
I agree. Keith, good point. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. God bless you for your call back. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, buddy. I want to remind you that lots of good things are going on up in Oakley. We were all set to go over there on Saturday night to the bump and rub car race, and then all of a sudden things came up and we couldn't go. But I want to talk to Chase tomorrow, and we'll find out. Not Chase. What's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. Cash. That's going to be on the air tomorrow, and we'll find out how it went. But I want to remind you that Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main in Oakley invites you up this week to the great big 131st Oakley Pioneer Day celebration. They got something going on every day, all day, and at night. Wow. Clark's for Shopping, hometown grocery store with the famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe. It's great. Also, Oakley Valley Stone at 204 West Main Street in Oakley. They say, come on up and enjoy our celebration. And if you're looking for stone for a new fireplace, headstone for a loved one, landscaping boulders, look no further than Oakley's Valley Stone. Absolutely wonderful. And Searles. Hello, Searles at 120 North Center Street in Oakley. Gas, grub, and goodies, and that's the truth. They're open from 6 in the morning till 9 p.m., and they've got doggone good burgers and specialty buns that are baked fresh every day. Woo! Searles. It's great. 120 North Center in Oakley. Come on up to Oakley for Pioneer Days. And speaking of what's going on at Oakley, holy buckets. Tomorrow night they've got a great big S&M team roping starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday they've got that moto rodeo. That's new. It's a brand new event on their calendar. Thursday the gymkhana. Friday and Saturday the rodeo. And then fireworks and dances. And they've got all kinds of other things that are going to be going on during the daytime at the Oakley Pioneer Days this week in Oakley. Don't miss it, with the theme Looking Forward with Faith. Oakley Pioneer Days. Wow, they know how to have a good time up in Oakley, let me tell you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. So far, everybody that's called has been in favor of this meeting between Trump and Putin that's going on in Helsinki. And surely there has to be someone out in the audience, whether you're driving down the interstate, going to work, sitting in your office, sitting at home, whatever, that maybe doesn't agree with it. I don't understand why, but I'd like to hear your opinion. So give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call on that, did you see Hillary Clinton over the weekend? Oh, my. You talk about haggard. You talk about tired looking. You talk about old looking. And especially you talk about mean looking, with her facial expression and her eyes, concerning the Supreme Court pick of Brett Kavanaugh. She absolutely was in a bad mood about the pick, and saying that he, Brett Kavanaugh, will take the Supreme Court back to the 1800s. And it was just really a blatant attempt to slam Brett Kavanaugh, the pick for the Supreme Court, slam the Trump administration, and she did not look very well in that interview. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Zeb, I don't know what made me think of this morning, but maybe you can make sense out of what my thinking trend is, but I think Lady Astor said to Winston Churchill one time, I ought to give you a poison cup of tea. And Winston said to her that if I was your husband, I would drink it.
I remember that.
Huh?
I say I remember that statement, yes.
for some reason, everything you're talking about this morning, that story come to my mind.
Let me ask you something, Earl. In the last 6 months, have you seen Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton together at any social function, or read about them together at any location? Have you seen them together or heard about them being together at all?
I think if I did see them together, my mind would just go blank anyway.
Yeah.
I have a way of turning things off. Zeb, we were raised in an independent nation.
Right.
Is if we missed a stitch, we suffered for it. And the last at least 60 years, this trend of bringing in foreign objects into this country has just divided us, as some of your callers have been saying. And the reason we're divided is because we've lost our independence because of this influx of incoming product coming into this country, is the way I feel.
Well, and I would agree. The only thing I would add to what you said is we've lost the American incentive. When these people come in, whether legal or illegal, they're not coming here with the idea of, oh man, I'm so happy to be an American. I can't wait to follow the American ideals. I can't wait to see if I can't achieve the American dream. I can't wait to see if I can get a good job and raise my family according to the American Constitution, laws, and values. No, it's not that anymore. We're all fragmented because of different cultures.
One thing you made me think of then was we've lost the America that we knew.
Yep.
And the people in this nation have to regain that before we can bring more immigration back in here again, because if we bring them in now, we've got nothing to teach them.
Boy, well said. Well said, Earl. I've got to get a weather forecast on here, but that was well stated. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
I'm out of breath. Let me...
All right. Thanks, Earl. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, sir. We've got to go to the weather quickly. I just looked up at the clock and I thought, ooh, and then I'll take some more calls. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology. Pleased to announce again that Dr. Courtney Mitchell has joined Dr. Pickup over at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they can really help you. You can trust your hearing health to both of these doctors because they are there to serve you and your family. Right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
Good Monday, and here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting some precipitation for today. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are expected mostly in the morning and then again as we enter into the evening hours. Other than that, partly sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 90 tonight. More isolated thunderstorms could continue with a low of 60 tomorrow. Back to sunshine and relatively hot. High of 90 degrees is what we're expecting. Looks like clear skies and a low of 60 tomorrow night. By Wednesday, sunny and mid-90s. And as we make our way towards the weekend, Thursday, expecting sunny skies, high of 90. And Friday, maybe some rain showers possible, thunderstorms, high of 93. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'm ready for some 85 highs. I'm ready for some 83 highs. But I got to tell you, even as much as I like the warm weather, I've kind of had it for a couple of days. When I wanted to go out and saddle up a horse on Saturday, I looked at the saddle, I looked at the horse, I looked up to the heavens, I felt the sweat trickling down my brow, and I said, I'm going to go find some shade. Anyway, don't forget our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they're there to serve you. They're dedicated to serving people with hearing loss of all ages and their families. Number to call, 312-0957. Also, quickly, before I take the next call, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you about Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, and they've got three locations serving you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan and the crew. 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the Napa location. Don't forget, they've got it all, man. They've got all the skid steers, compact track loaders, mini excavators. They've got all of them. They've got all the Bobcat excavators. Equipment rentals and retail equipment sales at Barry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. Really, really good folks. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really, I'd like one more plea that if there's anybody out there that doesn't agree with our President Trump meeting with Vladimir Putin of Russia, call me and tell me why. Why? And I will be a good boy. I will not chastise you. I just want to hear your opinion as to why it would be possibly wrong for these two leaders to get together and discuss differences and maybe come up with some compromises and air each other's grievances, maybe for a safer world. But again, I put the question out to you. What could be wrong with that? As, oh my goodness, some of the absolute horrendous comments that were made by the left, from Cory Booker to Chuck Schumer, and the hatred from some of the so-called Hollywood know-it-alls that really couldn't find their way out of a paper bag. It was just absolutely horrendous the way they chastised Trump for going to meet with Putin. But nothing was ever said with this negativity when Obama was in office. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was talking a moment ago about Hillary Clinton, and I was listening to some various commentators this weekend talking about how she, Hillary Clinton, honestly still believes that she can be the nominee pick for 2020 for the Democratic Party. I just can't believe that this woman cannot read the memo. And the memo is, from a lot of Democrats, please go home to Chappaquiddick, Chautauqua, pardon me, and get in your rocking chair and leave politics alone. In many, many cases of Democratic concern, Doug Schoen, many others, it's time for the Clintons to fade away. There's a lot of turmoil and contention that can be attributed to the Clintons, whether it's Bill and or Hillary. And there still are some real lingering questions as to illegalities by Bill and Hillary. And a lot of Democrats are saying, just please, she's not going to be the Democratic nominee. She is not going to have any force behind her, even though it looks like she's on the campaign trail right now. But please, Hillary, go home, get in the rocking chair, and watch the sunsets. Please. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And while I'm waiting for your phone call, I want to remind you, too, about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. I got to brag about every one of them. They're all great, and they're all managed by wonderful people and manned by a staff that really cares. And I mean that. And I found out more of my reasoning this past weekend. I ran over a great big gob of tar and stuck to my tire, and it was ugly. And I whipped into one of our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they took care of it like that. Absolutely good people. Whether you're going on a road trip, caller, I'll be right there, don't go away, and you need new tires, or you need your brakes fixed or checked, or front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, whatever, they are there to serve you, and service reigns supreme. These are wonderful people that I'm so thankful they are our major sponsor on this program. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. I got 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's bring up Bill Clinton, the guy that sat in a tree for, 2 or 3 weeks to gain his point on communism. Get rid of them all. That's all I got to say.
Well, I appreciate your call this morning. Thank you very much. I know how you feel. And you're not that much different than most people. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There are a lot of stories that have never been confirmed or disavowed. There are a lot of innuendos, and there are a lot of accusations to the Clinton power machine that still have not been either looked at or proven innocent or guilty. And Hillary, of course, like I said, over the weekend, looking really haggard, looking really tired, old, and mean. Mean is the key word right there. Absolutely coming out in condemnation of President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court, Brett Kavanaugh, and saying that he is going to take us back to the 1850s. No, I honestly believe the Supreme Court is going to go back to our Constitution and the values written by our forefathers. I think that we're going to see much better coming out of the Supreme Court. Got time for a quick call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you that at 9:06 we're going to have Richard Manning on the air, and Richard is a mainstay every week on this program, and he is the leader of Americans for Limited Government. I got a whole bunch of questions for him. And then at 9:30 we had a guest all set up for that half hour, and they called this morning and canceled out. So we'll have another open forum at 9:30 this morning. And then at 10:06, we're going to have a gentleman on the air by the name of Larry Murphy from Florida. If you'll remember him, he was the gentleman that lived in a homeowners association. They told him to take down his American flag. Don't go away. The news next from CBS. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. And away we go. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, I need you on the microphone really fast. I noticed some static on the line again. Evidently, that's part of our summer activity. Is it really bad? Do we need to reestablish quickly?
No. What we can do is, if it gets too bad, I will let you know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you, of course, by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and we appreciate all their effort. If you're getting ready for a road trip, you better stop in and see them today, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, we're going to hear these good words for our friends from Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, like I tell you, if you're not on the route service, you should be. They'll come by once a week, get your garbage, and you can stand there and wave goodbye as they haul it away. The best people serving you at Western Waste Services, and they, of course, are always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. Western Waste Services, the best. Real quick, I also want to remind you about our friends at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, and the whole crew, great staff serving you and your animals, your pets. They want to make sure everybody's healthy. And whether it's itty-bitty kitty cats or whether it's a great big herd of dairy cows, they can help and they will help. Don't forget the number to call, 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. And I want to remind you, too, about somebody that really is community-oriented and doing so much for the area, and that's, of course, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff over at Hanson Mortuary. They had that great big 4th of July breakfast, and it was fantastic for everybody that was there. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and they always treat you and your family with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down and call if you have questions. We all should find more about the funeral information and how we can help set it up so that it's not relying on our family and our relatives. And the number to call, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you over at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Every Monday, and I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off this morning. I'm a few minutes late. Every Monday we have a segment with a gentleman that I just really admire and what he's done, what he's said in the past, and I appreciate him being on this program. The president of Americans for Limited Government, Richard Manning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Scott. How are you?
You know, one thing that I've glossed over on various, and Wheels over at the station, we got a little feedback riding here, but one thing I've glossed over and I haven't mentioned for quite some time is that you were recognized for your great work with that Impact Award, and believe me, there's a lot of very notable people that have won that along with yourself. What is the Impact Award that you won on behalf of your job?
Well, some people, peers of mine, decided that that I was worthy of receiving an award that signified somebody who was making a really important impact in terms of limiting government, in terms of conservative cause as a whole. A lot of the stuff that I was recognized for was really behind-the-scenes stuff in terms of helping other groups, other issues develop what they're planning, working with them in terms of strategy, and really just being a team player over a long period of time. And as a result, a number of people got together and said, hey, Manning deserves to be recognized, and they did so. It's a great honor. People like Sean Hannity, people like James O'Keefe were honored, and so so it was I looked around and people being honored, and I said, what am I doing here? But it was it truly was one of the great moments of recognition for just a lot of hard work over a long period of time.
Absolutely, and we respect you and applaud you for the job that you've done. Richard, when you look at the stories this morning of the summit meeting between Trump and Putin, I think it's a good thing. I can't find anything wrong with two leaders that are capable at any time of hitting a red button and causing world disaster and trauma. And I think it's a good thing they get together, but the left and the media are burning their hair. They're so upset about this meeting. Why? Why are they upset?
It legitimizes Trump as a world leader, and the entire goal of the left has been to delegitimize his presidency. Now, here's what the left cannot afford to have happen. They cannot afford for Donald Trump to have a successful presidency because they have bet everything on his failure. They created this whole Russia scenario in order to try to put the United States behind the eight ball in dealing with Russia at a time when we are flying jets in the same airspace as MiGs are being flown in Syria. And it is insane that they've pushed this so aggressively, particularly since there's no there. Maybe some Russian hackers were involved in trying to deal with our elections. But, guess what? Wake up. Since 1946, at least, we've been having Russians and trying to deal with our presidential elections. In fact, there's evidence in the 30s they were doing it. So this is not new. In fact, it's rather pathetic, the level of effort that they put in when all said and done. But here's the bottom line: they can't afford for President Trump to be successful. They want to tie his hands, and it's dangerous what they're doing. President Trump today meeting in Helsinki, Finland, with Putin. Yes. We put a red phone in the Oval Office and in the Kremlin for a reason, and the reason is we don't want to blow each other up over a mistake. It's good for the two men to look each other eyeball to eyeball, make a determination of where we can come to some agreement. And quite honestly, I'm hoping that that our president will say to Vladimir Putin, it's not in your interest to have the Iranian troops on the Syrian border with Israel. If you allow that, if that occurs, if we don't deny the Iranians their ambitions to create a war in the Middle East, then there will be a war in the Middle East. It's going to turn out badly for everybody. So it's really a matter of the president trying to focus Putin's attention on stopping the Iranian Revolutionary Guard from setting up camp on the Israeli border, because the Israelis will never allow that to occur. And that is something that the Russians and the Americans should be dealing with, and should deal with immediately, and end the Iranian ambitions for hegemony over the region.
Absolutely. Lest we all forget, and I mentioned this in the first hour, and I'd like you to elaborate on it, the open mic that Obama had about 4 years ago talking to another Russian ambassador, to the point where he said, hey, by the way, after the election, please tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility. If that's not collusion, and if that's not something for the left to burn their hair, I have no idea. But that was okay, and now that Trump's meeting with Putin, everything is negative.
Well, it's correct, and that is exactly what Obama told Medvedev, who was president of Russia at the time, and it was a direct note. We'll be able to be a lot more flexible moving forward. Well, you know what? That's the same Obama who, when Romney brought up in that election, in the debate, brought up the Russia threat, said, hey, the 1980s called they want their foreign policy back. So, this is the same Democrats that declared Russia to be a non-threat in 2012 suddenly are worked up as if it's we're in the 1950s in terms of the Russian threat. Now, I'm not going to underestimate the Russian threat. The Russian threat is real. Russians do have nuclear weapons, and they've upgraded their nuclear weapons to be a real threat to the United States. Putin is consolidating power within the old Soviet Union, and the threat of him in the Ukraine is real. The threat of him to the Baltic states is real. So I'm not diminishing those threats, but I think we have to create some kind of rational approach to this, rather than running around with our hair on fire. And the Democrats seem incapable of doing so. The same Democrats who were willing to turn over 150 U.S. uranium reserves to the Russians, and nobody raised a peep about it when it was brought before the body that could have stopped it, known as CFIUS, that could have stopped it. Those same people are now upset because the President of the United States is meeting with the President of Russia to discuss world events that impact both of our countries in meaningful ways, and in fact impact world peace in meaningful ways. And somehow that shouldn't happen, in spite of the fact they were collaborators in terms of turning over uranium reserves to the Russians and putting ourselves in greater risk 4 or 5 years later.
One thing I would say and interject right here, Richard, and you can criticize me if you think I'm dead wrong, I don't see the fear. I don't feel the fear about Putin and Russia as much as I do the potentiality of a problem with China because of their population and because of they want to take over world dominance. China scares me more than Russia, simply put.
Oh, I agree. I think here's how Russia plays in. China and Russia have been playing a dual game on this. They've been working together. But what everybody has to remember is the whole reason Nixon opened the door to China in early 1970 to say 71 was because he wanted to have China as an offset to Russia, to be able to play them against one another, because they share a common border, and on the Russian side of the border is massive oil and natural gas reserves, and on the Chinese side of the border are a whole bunch of people who need the massive natural gas and oil reserves but don't have them. So you have a conflicted interest with a shared border. That becomes extremely dangerous in terms of the Russo-Sino relations, and so Nixon opened up the doors to China largely to leverage Russia and create a dynamic where you created. They were looking at essentially a two-front confrontation, which they couldn't win. And that was what Nixon did in the early 70s. It was brilliant. Now we're in a different situation. We have China as a primary threat, but we have Russia who's in cahoots with China, doing their thing. So now what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to leverage Russia at some level, because they still have the same common border with the same tension along that border, and the same reserves on one side, natural resource reserves on one side of the border, and massive people and industrial state that needs those reserves on the other side of the border. And those two things are not going to, and that creates more natural tension between the Chinese and the Russians than anything that we can do. So that's why you have to have an ability to talk to Putin about things that are in your mutual interest and where you don't agree, and talk to the Chinese about things that are in mutual interest where you don't agree, because ultimately we can leverage those two against one another and create and break that axis apart. And when you do that, we win. So that's how kind of the geopolitical aspect of it that I think Trump is attempting to do. Plus, the fact is we have an Iranian problem, and the Russians are the partial solution to the Iranian problem.
I agree, totally. Richard, we're roughly speaking about 3.5 months away from midterm elections, and you of anybody would have a feel as to whether or not the Democrats are going to have a blue wave and they're going to take over the House, etc. I don't see it. Everybody I've talked to all across the country, they think the Democrats have already shot themselves in the foot. There's not much time to heal that wound before the November elections, and they think that it's going to be absolutely against the Democrats in November. What are your thoughts?
You know, my guts tell me that what you say is true, but the polling tells me something different. And I always get concerned when the polling and my guts aren't in alignment. Of course, in the last election, we saw the frailty of polling. But so right now, I think it's a toss-up as to whether or not the Republicans maintain control of the House. I think the Republicans will win 4 to 5 seats in the Senate, net 4 to 5 seats in the Senate, which is obviously good. From a standpoint of being able to get nominations through and the like. Whether you can get actual legislation through is another story, but at least nominations. But on the House side, it's a little bit more dicey, and the reason is simply that so many Republican incumbents have stepped aside that there's a lot more Republican seats that are now up for grabs. Open seats than there are Democrat seats. And the Republicans had run the table so completely on Democrat seats that were vulnerable in the past that there aren't a lot of Democrats holding seats that are vulnerable. So just the nature of the Republicans kind of being at the apex of their political kind of power, and the Democrats having a lot of open seats and maybe what were swing districts, gives a lot more opportunity for Democrats to pick up seats. But, you know, Zeb, I can't imagine, I cannot imagine that the average American wants to vote for what the Democrats are putting out there, for their Maxine Waters, Antifa wing of the party. The nominees they're nominating are far left crazies, way out of the mainstream. And so you don't have the Democratic Party of old is having a realignment in this primary season. And that realignment, the Republicans have the resources to be able to drive the message home about how bad that realignment is. And so that is I think there's the election will ultimately be nationalized, and as it's nationalized, I don't think the Democrats fare well in that circumstance.
You know, and in accord with what you're just talking about, Richard, here she goes again over the weekend, looking mean and haggard and very old. Hillary, for some reason, thinks she's going to be the flag carrier for the Democratic Party going into 2020 as their nominee, and she came out and really vehemently came out against Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court, saying that he's going to take us back to the 1850s. What are your thoughts about Hillary and a lot of people on the Democratic side of the aisle that just wish she would go home?
Well, I'm glad she's still around. I believe that I'm sending contributions to the euphemistic, not literally, sending contributions to the Hillary 2020 campaign and the Hillary 2024 campaign and the Hillary 2028 campaign. So long as she never gets elected. Because she is the most divisive person in the Democratic Party. She stands for everything that millennials hate about the Democratic Party. And as long as we can keep the corpulent corruption running for president, we will be, I think we have a vivid reminder of everybody of all the things that are wrong with the Democratic Party. What's more, she has to go even further to the left as the party veers that direction. And watching her contort herself to totally and completely dismantle any semblance of moderate Democrat policies that Bill Clinton espoused and governed using is actually quite amusing to see him squirm while she's saying this stuff.
Absolutely.
So just from an entertainment standpoint, having her out there is good, but I also think she's a great reminder of everything that's wrong about the swamp and the Clintons' role in creating that swamp, and she's rejected. She's been rejected twice, and quite honestly, if she hadn't cheated, Bernie Sanders would have beaten her in the primary.
Right.
So she was not just been rejected by the electorate as a whole; she's been rejected by her own party twice, if not for the little bit of help she was given by the DNC in the primary campaign.
One last thought here this morning. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about your concepts about the summit meeting with Trump and Putin, the possible successes that might come out of here that are going to propel Trump even higher up the popular opinion polls, and what the Democrats are going to do to try to make it negative. What about all the protests over in Helsinki? And you know as well as I do, they're going to get worse here in this country, probably funded by people by Soros, etc., and more split, more division, and more hatred in this country after the summit when Trump returns home. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, you can't have a summit in Europe without having a bunch of the Green Party and crazy communists protesting, so that's normal. It's just that we haven't had 24/7 coverage of the protesters with American broadcasters cheering them on before. That's the only thing that's really different. In terms of my expectations for the summit, I think my expectations are low. This is usually with these summits, you have a lot of high-ranking officials meeting in advance. They come up with the answer to what the summit is. It's preordained what's going to come out of the summit, and the principals meet to kind of hammer out the last details and to shake hands. That hasn't been done with this summit. There's no preordained outcome. I think this is about two men eyeball to eyeball, kind of taking each other's measure, with Donald Trump very specifically having an objective of getting the Russians to agree to push them hard on the Iranians. I believe he will go after Putin in terms of their interjection into the election system. And it may not be a public attack on him, but I think privately Putin's going to bear a lot of responsibility for that, as well as the apparent killing by using of people around the world who the Russians find to be inconvenient, former Russian expats who might have been helped out in terms of figuring out what they were doing, which has been occurring. We just had somebody die in Great Britain from a poisoning, which was directly attributed to the Russians. So I think Trump's going to take him on a number of fronts, if fly on the wall, it'd be very interesting, but I think on the public arena, you're going to have two people sitting in a chair talking nicely with very little coming out of it.
I always appreciate and respect your opinions and attitude on politics. You know what you're talking about. Richard Manning, of course, president of Americans for Limited Government. God bless you, my friend. See you next Monday. Thank you again.
Thank you, Zeb. And remember, firetheswamp.com. We got big stuff happening this week.
Amen.
Firetheswamp.com.
Amen. Thank you very much. Richard Manning, a gentleman that I just absolutely feel blessed that he's taken the time to come on our program every Monday at 9:06. And thank you again. Holy smokes. I've got a favor to ask you folks for this next half hour, because I had a guest all lined up and they're not coming on. And I'd appreciate it if we'll talk about any subject that you want to talk about. So give us a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. No guess for the next little time slot. We lost him. We can't find him. I want to remind you, too, about what happens on Thursdays with the Old Fishin' Hole, sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Reese and the crew, well, they've got a gentleman that works there at Sportsman's. He is the fishing guru. He knows it all, Josh. And every Thursday at 10:30 he's on the program, and he's actually fishing like out in the stream or a river or a lake, whatever, or at a reservoir. He knows all about what to catch, how to catch them, and what tackle to use, and everything else. The Old Fishing Hole, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. All your fishing, hunting, camping, knives, food, guns, ammo, everything, all your clothing, it's all there at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Tomorrow on our program at 9:30, we have a segment called Vicky's Country Garden, and she helps you with your gardening, and it's growing during the gardening season. And Vicky, of course, celebrating 21 years in business. For all your gardening needs, I'm telling you, she is the lady that knows. So tune in, 9:30 tomorrow, Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and that's at 9:30 on Tuesdays. All right, it's your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. Love to talk to you. And I didn't know. This is a question I've got to ask. I'm not aware, because I really haven't had anything to do with parades, but how many parades around the area charge for people to be in the parade? I was reading a letter that was in the paper the other day by Laird Stone, president of the Twin Falls Shrine Club, and he was writing a letter in response to why the El Cora Shriners were not in this year's Twin Falls Western Days Parade, and he said in the letter that they had to pay a $100 fee. Now, I'm asking questions. Does anybody else know of another parade out there where you have to pay a fee to participate? I'm not aware of that. I thought a parade was kind of a come one, come all, sign up, get in line, da-da-da-da. But I was not aware that there is a fee. Is this the only one in this area? Or are other parades, do they charge a fee? Somebody call me and let me know. I'd appreciate that. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting with your call of knowledge, don't forget to stop in and see my good friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff and the crew at 459 Overland in Burley, and they've got their great big red, white, and blue sale going on all through the month of July. I'm not kidding. Most everything is 30 to 50% off, 12 months interest-free. Wow. I've got to go in there and get a new recliner. Yep, mine died after about 11 years of my old fat body hitting it and laying it back. My goodness sakes, I got to get another one, and I'm going into Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You check out the great big red, white, and blue sale. You stop in today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, sir.
Yes. Well, where have you been?
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So.
Well, not. You could be nicer than that.
I was on a secret mission.
Oh, well, I hope that maybe everything's okay and the plane landed and the pilot's okay, etc.
Right.
Okay.
He's left, and we're back to the house, only two in the house. So.
All right. What can I do for you this morning?
Well, on parades, I was in the Western Day Parade, so probably 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We never had to pay.
Well, it doesn't sound good at all. This gentleman, Laird Stone, wrote in the article that he saw that in May, the Western Days Committee donated $10,000 to build the arch over Shoshone Street in Twin Falls, and he made the point if the committee had the $10,000 to give away, then it should have enough money to cover all the costs for having a parade.
You'd think, but yeah, I was in that parade many years ago when, well, it started clear out at the Magic Valley Mall.
Yeah.
Down Blue Lakes. It was a long parade. And then I've been in Sun Valley's parade, I've been in Rupert's parade, and I've never had to pay to be in any one of them.
You know, I'm going to show some real ignorance to the fact that with almost every rodeo that I've been connected to, there's always a parade. Well, I can't and didn't participate in the parades, Doug, because I was always at the rodeo grounds working up the information prior to the performances, so I couldn't be in the various parades. But I got to be honest, I was thinking back, and I checked with my aunt back in Wisconsin about various parades on Labor Day parade and 4th of July parades and everything, and she couldn't recall at any time a parade charging people to be a part of the parade.
Yeah, which I'm not saying the guy's not factual. It's probably true. I haven't been around a parade or been in a parade in probably 12 years or more.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I wouldn't know. I know when I was in the Sun Valley Parade, the Wagon Days, they paid me to be in that one.
Well, I'll tell you something, though, Doug. Seriously, the El Cara Shriners, for as much as they do as, basically public service and helping people, and, the Shriners are absolutely out in the forefront, always working to serve families and serve others. Why in the world would you want to charge someone like that to be in a parade?
Exactly. They do enough for the community. They should get a free ride.
Yeah.
Now, you take a commercial vehicle like some business wants to put a float in, and, maybe a little there, but I've never heard of it.
Yeah, but you go to charging, I don't care if it's the Rupert 4th of July parade or if it's the Western Days or if it's the parade up in Haley. You go to charging people to be in a parade, and I can see where you might have a one-horse parade.
Exactly, yeah. And the one in Haley, I really enjoyed that one. We was up there, I had a black percheron mare hooked up to a doctor buggy, and everybody said they had a little much horse, and I said, well, people put big motors in little cars nowadays, so I can't put a big horse in front of a doctor buggy.
It always amazed me up there at that parade to watch them with that, what is it, that 20-team hitch when they make that corner coming onto Main Street?
I think that's something.
Oh, my. Yeah.
And then the guys that do the hockey up there.
Yes.
Where they go on rollerblades and picking up the droppings for the people walking. I think that's amazing.
I wonder how many of those little horse apples at the speed of that stick playing hockey might have elevated in the air and perhaps hit somebody on the curb.
I don't know. I'll bet you at least a few.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad you called because I'm not aware of any charging for various parades, but the claim is that they were going to charge the Shriners $100 to be in the parade, and I find that offensive.
I do. And I think the board that handles that parade should contact you and let you know.
I think so, too. Doug, thank you very much. Long time no talk to. Oh, you've got 15 seconds real quick before I take the next call.
Everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. It's hot. They need our help. Donate. If you've got a dairy or a ranch or something, and you got a cow that you're going to take to market and make hamburger out of, think of donating it to a senior center.
There you go.
They can really use it.
There you go. Doug, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
God bless.
All right. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Have you ever heard of anybody charging for a parade?
No, I haven't, but I do know that when we used to run NASCAR, my family did, and we used to race at the Twin Falls Speedway, we had to pay to get in, and then we had to pay for a pit pass for anybody that was working on our car or anything. Now, we're there furnishing the entertainment, and we have to pay.
I never
did buy into that.
That doesn't sound quite kosher, does it?
Parades.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit different than a parade fee, but I can understand where you're headed. It reminds me of a story that happened about, good 20 years ago at a rodeo in California. And I was the announcer, and I had my parking pass, I had my PRCA sticker, I had everything to drive in the back gate and then park right behind the announcer stand area. But this guy was bound and determined. He evidently relished his job and all the power it provided him once a year. He was bound and determined that he wasn't going to let me in unless I paid a parking fee, even though I had all the stickers and everything. And I never will forget, and I shouldn't say this on the radio, but he stood there and argued with me, and finally I drove away, and in my rearview mirror, here he came, resembling a cartoon character, resembling somebody waving their arms and running at full tilt after me, and he never did confront me after that, but it's still, some people, you give them a little power and they let it go to their head.
Well, I agree with you there. That's, some people are really not representing what they're supposed to be representing.
Some people hurt the event. Would you agree with that?
What's that?
I said some people that work for an event and try to play this power pole like a Barney Fife attitude, they actually hurt the event and the character and personality of the event. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And people who are officials at the parade, they may not be getting paid, but some of them do a good job, and some of them are they're forcing their opinion off on you.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I just don't like the idea, and again, I could be wrong. And if there's other parades out there that have charged the participants, I'll stand corrected and I'll apologize as such. But I've never heard from the parades that I grew up with by being in and watching back in the Midwest to out here, I've never heard of having to pay to get involved in a parade.
Well, for quite a few years, I had a Model A pickup that was made into a monster truck, had big tires on it and everything. But it was really a crowd pleaser, and I used to put it in the Rupert Parade, and in the Burley Parade, and in the Oakley Parade. And they were glad to have us.
Oh, my. Well, Keith, I appreciate your calling on that this morning. Thank you very, very much for sharing with us.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to make a comment on this, let me know. Oh, Deanne, on my cell phone, I have a call that you might want to take. It's coming in right now. And if you could come get that phone. She's in the other room, my lovely, lovely bride. And for some reason, somebody wanted to call me on my cell phone and expect me to get that on the air. It doesn't work that way. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And again, I'd like to know if you know of maybe parades like the Rose Bowl Parade or the Cotton Bowl Parade. Maybe they generate funding by having a fee for the various groups, the marching bands, whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. It's really never come to the forefront of my thinking until I read this letter about the El Cora Shriners that do so much work and so much for various communities all over the United States, and why they would be charged a $100 fee to participate in the Twin Falls Western Days Parade. It makes no sense to me. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at Let's Ride. You know, you look outside, and then you look at the hills and you say to yourself, man, I got to get up there. I've got to get away from all the hustle and bustle. Well, stop over and check out all the great buys on the ATVs at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. 0% financing on ATVs. They've got all the ATVs. They got the Honda Pioneer side-by-sides. They got all the watercraft for fun on the lakes and the streams. Oh, my, you better get over there today. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and that's Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true, this is where the fun is sold. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I won't beat this dead horse anymore, but just curious, if anybody out there knows any more information about parades and fees. I mean, $100 for a group like the El Cora Shriners and others to be in a parade. I've never heard of that, so please give me a jingle. While I have a time right now, I'm going to do a weather forecast, and then I'll take some more of your calls. So please get on the phone and give me a jingle. And caller, I tell you what, I'm going to hold off on the weather because you called when you did, and I'm going to put you as a priority. Go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Thank you, Zeb. Hey, good morning. This is on that border thing there. These Democrats are going to continually throw up roadblocks to stall the closing of the border.
Oh, absolutely.
In the meantime, thousands and thousands of illegals are pouring into this country. I would think that the President of the United States, under the band of security and safety for us, would be able to just say, hey, the border's closed, the troops are coming down there, and there'd be no more people coming into this country.
In a realistic world, that should happen. In a world where our Constitution and our value system and what our forefathers fought and died for, that is the way it should be. In a world where you've got a lot of leeches back in Washington, D.C., and a lot of people that shouldn't be in office because they're in office for themselves and their own ideology, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it'd be so easy. I maintain that the border could be closed, I mean really closed, by 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, the problem that I see here is the ball is in the court of all these politicians. They're living in gated communities. Their children are going to private schools, and they probably have security 24 hours a day, but for the rest of us have to send our kids to public schools who are in danger of being attacked daily by a lot of these foreigners that hate us. I really don't know what's going to happen to this country. I think it's too late to really do anything, and if it wasn't for Donald Trump, this country would have been sunk.
No, I don't think it's too late to do anything. I think the right thing should prevail, and I think the Democrats should absolutely go back into their corner, crawl back into their hole, and they should realize that our laws, our regulatory means and fashions in this country should take precedence, and there are borders, and there are consequences, and we need to close the borders today.
Well, I hope, what's his name, Schumer and his bunch of henchmen understand that, or will start to understand what's going on.
You know, Tony, I'm really concerned with the politics involved in what's going on at the border, and the left, of course, playing the heartstrings, saying, well, we're a nation that invites all the people of the world to come here if they're beleaguered or they're being hassled or whatever. Baloney. I don't think that we can keep taking all the world's problems into this country environmentally. We don't have the food, we don't have the housing, we don't have a lot of things that are at risk right now for us, the citizens of this country, and it's got to stop.
Well, the Democrats want these people in here for votes, and that's all.
Right. That's right. I'm glad you called, my dear friend. I got to do a weather forecast. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Hey, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Absolutely. Immigration has to be tempered. Immigration, legal immigration, has to be looked at as far as numbers. Illegal immigration, illegal, has to stop. Right now, our weather is brought to you by some really good people that have been serving and providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Now, Leiden Crane sent me some information. There have been some big changes to the tax laws, and tax rates have changed. There are new deductions, and some of the old deductions might have been altered or changed or even removed. You better check it out and make an appointment with them today and find out how it affects you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, handling all your tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, etc. The list goes on. They are the best, and they can and will serve you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And right now, here's the weather.
Good Monday, and here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting some precipitation for today. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are expected mostly in the morning and then again as we enter into the evening hours. Other than that, partly sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 90. Tonight, more isolated thunderstorms could continue with a low of 60. Tomorrow, back to sunshine and relatively hot. High of 90 degrees is what we're expecting. Looks like clear skies and a low of 60 tomorrow night. By Wednesday, sunny and mid-90s. And as we make our way towards the weekend, Thursday, expecting sunny skies, high of 90. And Friday, maybe some rain showers, possible thunderstorms, high of 93. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Okay. I've had enough of the 90s and the nearly triple digits for a little while. Let's cool things off. The weather brought to you by our friends at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. With offices in Burley and Rupert, I urge you to call them today and find out how the changes in the 2018 PATH Act, the changes to the tax law, may affect you, your family, and your business. Give them a call. Stop in. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. All right, I've got time for some more calls. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, I'd like to hear from you. You know, I was reading an article that was written by Michelle Sealer Tucker. And she has been on my program, maybe half a dozen times in the past. And there is a movement in this country, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but to not have you own a car or drive a car privately. The headline of this story is, "Why drive when someone else can do it?" And I was reading in the story, and it said, quote, "At the same time, more people are using ride-hailing and ride-sharing apps, and the percentage of teens getting their driver's licenses continues to decline. And given these technologies and social changes, it's worth asking, should Americans stop owning cars?" Now think about that. This really is scary. And this is very worrisome to me. In the land of the free, where we value our freedom to go here, there, and everywhere, anytime we want to, whether we live in rural areas and we need to run to town for groceries, or we need to go to the doctor, or we need to hurriedly get to a doctor's office or a hospital. And for all the emergencies and the freedom in our country, why would we want to live like they do in the mass transit areas of the inner city? I can see where car ownership and having a car in New York, San Francisco, L.A., Chicago, it might be, quote-unquote, easier to use public transportation. But to have some people insinuate and say that they predict that personal car ownership in major cities and elsewhere may be extinct by 2025, that's pretty scary. 2025. a mere few years from now. What are your thoughts on that as far as changing the world of transportation by you having to call someone to go to the grocery store in Twin or Burley, or you having to call someone to go here to a doctor's office and then go over here and take care of maybe going to your accountants or whatever? Do you want that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And to say that in a matter of years, 7 years, to have private ownership and car ownership almost extinct, a little scary. Right now, let's talk to you about our, our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, don't forget the best, the professionals, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. They are very dedicated and responsive to your needs, very accessible and devoted to serving you. All you need to do is give them a call. They're right there by the phone, ready to serve you. Set up an appointment at 436-4424, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. You get a hold of those good folks today. Oh, my. Now, I just had kind of a chilling story. My wife handed me a note, and the gentleman that we had scheduled for 10:06, Larry Murphy, Air Force veteran, that you probably saw on the national news, might not be available at 10:06. He's going to be there? Thank you. You've got a number. Okay, all is well. Thanks to my lovely bride. Caller, good morning. I've got a minute and a half. Go ahead.
Two really quick things. There's a lot of people who are concealed carriers. Why don't they just go to the parade and Twin and protect it? Oh, I forgot it's an open carry. Go ahead and let them all. And the other thing is, whoever that idiot is that says cars will be extinct, let's take him to Carver, Nevada, and say, here you are, there's your 2 feet now. Go get your groceries at Walmart.
Yeah, but wait a minute, though, caller. Think about it this way. There is a concentrated effort in this country to diminish and almost curtail rural living. Because people want everybody to move to larger metropolitan areas for the obvious reason of more control. This is what scares me about this story.
Yeah, that's true, and you won't catch this potty living in this city. Population 8's a good-sized town for me.
It's probably too big for me sometimes because I tell you what, I made the bad mistake the other day to be at noon on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, and I thought seriously about parking the truck, jumping out, standing on the curb, and giving my license and my registration to anybody that wanted it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hey, God bless you for your call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. God bless.
All right, thank you. Yep, there's a lot of places down in Nevada where the population is such that I don't think you'd get a rideshare plan. We're going to take a little break for a few minutes, and Deanne said, yes, we are going to have Larry Murphy on the phone with us in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, my, here we go, hour number 3. On a Monday, Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, if you're getting ready for a road trip to see Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred back in Gunnison, Colorado, then by golly, you better get in there. Check out all the great tire buys at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They are helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you that this week is just action-packed with all the different fun going on up at Oakley Pioneer Days. You don't want to miss a minute of it. It goes all this week, and tomorrow night they have a great big team roping starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday night, the Moto Rodeo. Thursday, the Gymkhana. Friday and Saturday night, the Open Rodeo. They're going to have basketball tournaments, entertainment in the park, and they're going to have a lot of things going on at the Oakley Valley Museum. And, of course, on this next Saturday, they're going to be having a huge parade starting at 11 o'clock. All of this and more at Oakley Pioneer Days in Oakley, where the theme is looking forward with faith. Some of the great merchants up there that say, come on up and enjoy our 131st celebration include Smith's Cafe at 135 East Main in Oakley. Open Monday through Saturday, 6:30 in the morning until all the customers go home. I'll tell you what, they make the best doggone burgers. You stop in and see them today at Smith's Cafe, 135 East Main in Oakley. And also our thanks go out to Representative and Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. And, of course, he is a rancher up in the Oakley area, and he wants to invite all the folks over to the Oakley Pioneer Days, July 17th through the 21st. Actually, you're going to see all kinds of fun. All your neighbors are going to be there. There's something for everyone at Oakley Pioneer Days, and thank you, Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. Right now, this gentleman and I talked to each other about 5-6 days ago, about having him on our program this morning. And I have followed his story on a national level with some of the national news sources. His name is Larry Murphy from Florida. He's a veteran that lived in a homeowners association, and they were fining him for putting up nothing more than the United States flag. Larry, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Larry, can you give us kind of a thumbnail sketch for my listeners that are perhaps unaware of your plight with the flag? What happened that all of a sudden you were made to be a bad guy for flying the red, white, and blue?
Well, I lived in a condo. So the only thing I had was a little front porch with steps coming up, and I put a little 17-inch flag in there. This happened 7 years ago, and people asked me, well, what started it? And I said, well, something was on the news that just gave me a chill that somebody was doing something against the United States, and I said, so I put this little 17-inch flag in my flower pot to show my love for the country and support for the troops and the first responders. And they sent me a violation letter, and it said the flag is an unauthorized object. And that's when I dug in my heels and said, that's going to stay. And it stayed there. And I got a lot of national coverage, and then the builder was still building in there, so they were in charge. And the builder paid $10,000 to my attorney. I didn't get a penny of it. I didn't want a penny of it. Just take care of my legal fees. And then after he left, the HOA board took over, and they came up with a rule of what can go in a flower pot. And the flag didn't make it again. And they came after me, and I said, no, I'm not going to take it out. So they started fining me $100 a day, up to $1,000. And we've been to county court, circuit court, state court, federal court, and finally the judge 1 week ago, he said, everything they threw at me, he threw out. So the only thing on the table now is me suing them for what they've done to me physically and financially and all of that. So we have a trial date set July the 8th. 2019. So, but what they did that really started this whole thing, the second round, is I had my funds automatically withdrawn from my checking account so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. And I had some neck surgery, and I was kind of in la-la land. And I noticed they were taking out, instead of $190, they were taking out $200, which I figured, well, no big deal. Like I say, I was kind of in la-la land. And that went on for 4 months, and then all of a sudden I get a letter, a legal thing, saying that they put a lien on my house and they're going to foreclose on it. What they did without telling me, they started diverting $200 a month towards the $1,000 fine, so that means I was not paying my dues, so they had the right to put a lien on it and foreclose. without telling me what they were doing. So that started, really kicked it off for them to start diverting my money without telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been paying legal fees every month for 7 years. I got one more year to go. I'm retired, fixed income, but I'm staying as long as I can. The attorney set up a GoFundMe account to start help paying some of his expenses. So if anybody's interested in that, it's they just type in my name, go to GoFundMe and type in Larry Murphy Flag, or they want to hear some history or see some history on this thing and hear it. They can just Google Larry Murphy Flag, and it goes over the
right.
whole history, and it has on there the article that's in the Washington Post and on the Hannity and Glenn Beck on Fox and Friends yesterday. So it's just starting all over again, and doesn't look like it's going to stop until we go back to court.
Larry, let me ask you a couple of questions. And
sure.
I got to admit that when I saw this story first on Fox a long time ago, I was outraged. In your opinion, is it hatred for our United States flag, or is it hatred for you because you bucked the system and you wouldn't fall in lockstep with the hierarchy of government? What really is the basis for going after you like they are?
My opinion is when we had that first case and it settled and the builder paid, from then on, it was downhill. And that's when the board started making up all of these rules and everything else. They didn't like to lose. And they were just telling everybody I was a deadbeat. I wasn't paying my dues. And I was, but they were diverting them. So it just got worse, and they just started nitpicking me on every little thing. And I've got example after example after example of stuff they did that was just to me, not anybody else.
Mm-hmm. What about others?
Ride this thing out, like I told them. I said the flag never loses. I may lose a bunch, but the flag never.
Absolutely.
I moved out of there. My girlfriend, thank God, bought a house so we could move in there. We're married now, of course, but it just got unbearable. And people, my brother and the rest of the family said, they're going to keep after you, make your life miserable the rest of your life here.
Larry,
I sold the place at a huge loss, but I got out of there.
Right.
And the flag's still in the pot on my front porch here in my new house.
Larry, let me ask you this. What about the other neighbors? What about the other people in the homeowners association? Did they at any time fly the American flag, or did they cower to these people that were the head of the association and not say anything in respect to you or in support of you? What were the neighbors' attitudes like towards you over this situation?
It was very enlightening, the people that said, do not let them run you down, stay the course as long as you possibly can, which I did. The other thing, there were some people that all they heard was the emails that the HOA sent out it had nothing to do with the flag. It was because I wasn't paying my dues, but they failed to tell these people they diverted my funds. I didn't. But it was gratifying to see the support. There was not in the neighborhood, there was not an American flag in the whole place. It was brand new.
Oh, my.
And then when I put mine out, other ones popped up. It was very encouraging.
Larry, when you look at this situation with you, and you're a retired Air Force air traffic controller, and you've served your country, but we see these things happening in other locations. We've seen this happen in California. We've seen it happen in other cities and communities where there's an animus against our American flag. What would you tell those people in other areas what to do and how to kind of stand up straight and tall and fight the system?
Well, the best thing is getting on radio stations like yours around the country and these other things, and then people start calling the HOA and telling them, to back off, which they didn't. But if if you firmly believe in something, do not stop. Don't ever stop. When I was on Fox and Friends, they asked me at the end if I had anything to say, and I said, well, basically, if anybody on that HOA board told me that they were in the military, I would have to ask them which side. I was that adamant about it.
Absolutely. Larry, my question would be at this juncture, why today? Why, in your opinion, this is speculative, but tell me this, why today do you think we're seeing more of an animosity against our flag and the flying of our flag? This, I don't think, would ever have happened 20, 30 years ago. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just now the nation is so divided, and they're going to say and do anything to either get attention, or if the other side says something, no matter what it is, they're going to be against it. If somebody says, I'm going to appoint somebody to the Supreme Court, and these people start hollering, I'm against it, they don't even know who it is. It's just, people are, some of them are against the sun coming up, and want to picket and get on TV or whatever, but it's just so divided. I think that, to me, that's the problem. And the other thing with the HOA, you do not question their authority.
When you say you don't question their authority, I mean, did you have a chance to meet your accusers with the Homeowners Association? Did you have a chance to really look them in the eye and ask them why the animosity against the American flag? What was their response like?
Well, at one of the meetings, I call them a kangaroo court, but anyway, I was there and my attorney was with me. And he explained it to them, there's state laws and federal laws saying you have the right to display the American flag. And if you keep this up, we will have litigation. They did it anyway. They're number one, and you do not question them. You just obey. And I'm not that type of person. I believe in something, I'm going to go to the wall. And that's what I've done. I got one more year to go.
These homeowners association groups across the country, what are your thoughts about them? Are they being supported or led by kind of a liberal slant that the United States is always guilty, the United States and the flag and our Constitution are not worthy anymore? Where do these people come up with this kind of an animosity against the flag? And what have you told them, being a veteran? What are your thoughts to them?
Well, it boils down to they make the rules, and some of them never had power in their entire life, and all of a sudden they've got a little bit, and everybody's supposed to bow down. And you explain to them, like my attorney told him, he said, look, an HOA is supposed to keep the property values up so that you don't have a car jacked up in your front yard and all of that. How does, in a neighborhood of 55 and older, mostly retired people, a 17-inch flag going to affect property values?
Right.
It will affect property values when the word gets out that you can't put up a flag or they're fighting me. But they don't look at it that way. They have a rule, they made it, and everybody else is to obey no matter what. And he told them, we're going to go to court. The man's not going to take his flag down. And I didn't.
And I'm so proud of you because...
I've got about 8 or 9 flags out front, little ones. In this place, they got flags all over the place here, and it's another 55 and older retirement place.
Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you, too.
What type people get on there.
Right.
Some of them get on there because they won't have a little power for change and make everybody's life miserable. There's quite a few people out there. It's Sweetwater by Del Webb in Jacksonville, Florida. And they've taken a hit, people trying to sell their houses out there when the word gets out what type of climate you're going to be in if you move into that place.
Larry, to sum up for this conversation this morning, I've got to ask you this. You have served the military, you've served our country, and this country today, to me, is more divided than it's been, I think, in our nation's history, with the liberal slant against the flag and against patriotism. What would you tell us? Do you think we can ever heal this nation, or are we at a division point where it's not going to get any better?
I think eventually, but it won't be anytime soon. I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you and how much I respect you for flying our United States flag and not wilting in the sun against the Homeowners Association. And once again, if you'd like to give out that GoFundMe page, go ahead and get that on the air one more time. Okay,
they just go to the GoFundMe and type in Larry Murphy flag. It's MURPHREE, Larry Murphy, and flag, and it all comes up.
Well, God bless you,
I appreciate any help.
Well, I tell you what, Larry, I'm losing my voice here this morning. I apologize for that, but I want to tell you how proud I am of you for standing up and doing the right thing. God bless you, my friend, and I'll follow this story, and we might have you back on. Thank you again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time you've given me and look forward to hearing from you again.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Larry Murphy in Florida, and he had the guts, literally, to fight a homeowners association because he had a 17-inch flag in a flower pot, and he would not take it down. Your thoughts. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have no idea what happened to my voice all of a sudden, but I'm losing it here this morning. I want to remind you, too, on Thursdays we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and our two sponsors that we're very, very proud of course, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center. First of all, at A Child's World, don't forget all the summer clothes, 25% off. They've got everything in there for the wee ones, all the clothing and the toys and the puzzles and the furniture, everything at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And don't forget to Ambulatory Surgery Center. They're located at 1344 Highland. The number to call to find out more about how they can save you money on your outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Life-saving colonoscopies, of course, knee surgeries, carpal tunnel surgeries, all of this and more at Ambulatory Surgery Center, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Hey, listening to your last guest, and he's talking about a homeowners associations, and I agree with him. He should be able to put a flag in his front yard. Of all things, the American flag in the front yard should be undisputable.
Absolutely.
It's our country. We're proud of it. Don't question me. The other thing about it is I understand the homeowners associations to help keep the value of a property, but I don't think should have the right to be so distinctive in their details and bylaws that a guy can't put a 17-inch flag in his front yard. Now, what if it would have been a holiday flag, like a turkey for Thanksgiving, as well as an American flag? Would they throw a fit over that, or just the United States flag?
You know as well as I do, Riley, that it's the American flag that's at question here. It's nothing more. It's not about a homeowner defying it. It's not about anything else in the windows. It's about the American flag. For some reason, ever since that Donald Trump became president, the left is absolutely having an animosity against this country, its value system, its constitution, and yes, even the American flag. That's what it's all about, and I urge anybody that gets in this kind of a predicament to stand up, stick your chin out, and fight back. Never take down the American flag.
Never. And I kind of feel, in my opinion, this took place when Obama first got elected. And it has carried on since, and it has gotten stronger, and the hatred has gotten more intense since Trump has been elected. But it started back then, and it keeps just growing and growing and growing. And this kind of gentleman like this and people like him and me and you need to stand up, and that's how we're going to stop it. So I'll let you go, my friend.
No, I appreciate it, Riley. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you. I have no idea what happened all of a sudden to my voice, but it's just about gone for this morning. I apologize for that. And we're going to take a break in just a minute and send it back over to our main studios. So just stay tuned. And I got time for one more call before the bottom of the hour. Give us a jingle on the landline, if you would, please. Your thoughts about Larry Murphy and his flying a 17-inch flag on his porch. I've got it right here, a picture, as a matter of fact, showing him with the flag. And he said, I got a violation letter that stated the American flag was an unauthorized object, and I had to take it down. The American flag that our soldiers, men and women, have fought and died for is now what's called an unauthorized object. Please. One more call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Coming up next hour, if I have any voice left, I'm going to have Maria Espinoza on the program, and she's going to be talking about immigration, illegal immigration, and ICE. And that's coming up at 10:33 this morning. A quick reminder again that the Old Fishing Hole on Thursdays at 10:30 with Josh. Don't miss that. Sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Don't miss that program. Right now, we're going to send it over a little bit early to Wheels. And Wheels, I'll give you a little cautionary note. Be ready to play some music at the drop of a hat because my voice all of a sudden is about gone. Thank you, sir. Take it away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I'd like to apologize. I have no idea why I've lost my voice somewhat this morning in the last hour. And I apologize for that. And we're going to go to our guest right now, and I hope she'll accept the same apology as it's very weak right now. Lovely lady that's the national director of the Remembrance Project, and which honors and remembers Americans who have, and legal residents who have been killed by illegal aliens. We say good morning to the lovely Maria Espinoza. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. I'm sorry to hear about your voice, but you sound great, by the way.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your kindness. Maria, I want to ask you this first and foremost. With all that's happened in the last couple of weeks, with the summit meetings and the meetings with NATO and meeting with other foreign leaders, and this morning, of course, the huge summit in Helsinki, Finland, with Trump and Putin, it's taken away from a lot of the everyday news and major concerns, especially the border. What's going to happen when Trump gets home with all the left trying to abolish immigration, customs, and enforcement? What are your thoughts about putting everything on the back burner for the last 2 weeks with the President Trump's trip?
Well, I think that's up to American people, Zeb, to keep it in the front burner. And, you know, of course, this is a big trip for our president, and, you know, the media will cover it, but of course they're going to spin it as in a very negative way, as always, no matter what he does. But you know, your listeners, we all have to continue calling the representatives, calling the White House, and supporting President Trump's America First agenda in order to protect Americans, you know, and not let him forget that. And I know he hasn't. You know, 2.5 weeks ago, he had a press conference with the Angel families, you know, a reminder of the promises he's kept. And he also, we sort of celebrated the anniversary of the opening of the President's Office of Voice, Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. So families were able to go up and speak with the Voice staff, and then later came out that afternoon with a press conference with the President. So he hasn't forgotten, but it's really imperative that people continue, representatives, and most important, that they insist that their representatives legislate for the betterment of our safety and our country. And obviously right now you know what the situation that we're in. The left is getting a little more and more far left and socialist, and even some of the behaviors I consider anarchy, where we can't have our say. You can see where some of the Trump supporters are being attacked for wearing the America First or Make America Great Again baseball cap. So we're not giving up.
No, and none of us should. Maria, let me ask you this question. The left is always looking for an avenue or an approach, I feel, to denigrate this administration and this presidency. And what about ICE? There have been claims that they want to abolish ICE, that they want to remake it, redo it. Why? Why in the world do we want to diminish or make a demagogue out of ICE that has served this country, and we need these people to help protect our borders? Why in the world would we ever give any credence to the left in their terrible chants, and they're also asking for abolishing of ICE?
Right. Well, the left doesn't care about Americans and the safety of our children, Zeb, and that's the bottom line. In fact, in Idaho, you talk with, the Sean Marty, who was a father who was killed by an illegal alien in 2003 there in Boise, Idaho. His daughter also died, saved. She was 5 months old, and his wife, Natalie, was critically injured and now suffers from brain damage, broken neck, in a coma for 3 weeks. It was this illegal alien was driving the wrong way on 84 at over 100 miles an hour. Hit them, this family, this young American family, hit them head on, and this guy had been jailed briefly for petty theft, and he was sentenced to like 90 days or something. But this guy is a perfect example, and why we need ICE and more enforcement. I mean, it's ridiculous to even talk about abolishing ICE. We need more enforcement. If the officials in Idaho cared about Idahoans, they would absolutely not stand for illegal aliens roaming our streets, especially those who had previously been in trouble with the law and should have long since been deported. And this young family, the Marty, M-A-R-T-I family, your listeners can look it up, they will still be intact and living out their dreams and not being permanently separated from their families. And there's no comparison when it comes to people who come here illegally, placing them above the law and rendering them untouchable versus the safety of our families. When we're working hard as taxpayers, trying to make ends meet, put food on our table, and provide for our families in a government that we have created because of our beliefs, because of our belief in God and our Constitution, and yet people come here and you think it's okay to come here illegally, break into our country and then demand that we take care of them and then demand that they have the equal rights as we do and the citizenship is absolutely wrong. And anyone out there with the shred of common sense can see how wrong and backwards this is. And I think, Zeb, that's why President Trump's popularity is growing, especially among the Hispanics. And that is what I have seen. Several months back, I told my husband, Tim Ling, that, I'm seeing more Hispanics wanting for our initiative called America First Latinos that we created over 3 years ago, growing and the need. So we are gathering more Latinos, and according to a poll that came out last month, I believe, it showed that President Trump's support in the Hispanic community increased by 10 points.
Maria, I sit here, and you and I have said this many times before on the radio when you've been on my program, and I wonder why we can't close the borders down at 3 p.m. this afternoon. There is no reason why these borders can't be closed. There is no reason why American taxpayers can't be protected. There is no reason that we have the influx of the drug cartels and all the illicit happenings on the border. It can be done. It can be closed. It's nothing more than a political toy right now. Would you agree with that?
You are absolutely right, Zeb, and thank you for speaking the truth, because we are intelligent enough. We have the intelligence. We have the equipment that we need. I've been down to the border myself and have seen these cartels, drug mules carrying backpacks full of drugs trying to come across our border. Or actually, they were 60 miles north of the border, so they were already in United States. But you're right. It's a political ploy, and both sides are guilty. I like to say this, Zeb, and it's very sad that I can say this, that our politicians, both sides of the aisle, are filling their re-election campaign coffers with the blood money from these open border lobbyists and U.S. chambers of commerce, while our children are filling America's coffins.
You know, I just can't imagine. I know so many people that live on the border, whether it's the Texas border, the Arizona border. I know a lot of ranchers in both those states, and I've talked to them, and they're ready to throw their hands up in despair and disgust because their government, the United States government, is doing nothing to protect them, their families, and their property.
You're absolutely right. You know, every one of us, and especially I would tell those politicians, if people were walking through your backyard committing crimes and destroying your property, I think that you would call law enforcement and demand that they make these illegal invaders stop, and you have a right to protect your own property. We all do, but yet they're told to stand down. And I know several of the ranchers that you probably know as well. And I know, speaking with Sue Krenz, the widow of Rob Krenz out in Arizona, Douglas, Arizona.
Yes.
She had a whole tally. She and her husband put together a tally of how much money, and it reached into, I believe the figure was close to $6 million that the family had lost because of illegal immigration. And back then, Bill Clinton was president, and they sent him a bill outlining all and line by line of the money that they lost. And they, again, were requesting for the borders to be secured, and they were ignored. And years later, of course, Rob Krenz was shot and killed by an illegal alien, what they call a southbounder, who had just delivered drugs to the United States and was on his way back and robbed a home and a truck and found a gun, and that's what he shot Rob Krenz with. And this is a man whose family homesteaded that property there for years, hardworking ranchers, and our government can't protect them, refuses to protect them.
Is the onus on us, Maria, is the problem really with us, the American taxpayer, American citizen? Are we too complacent? Are we too plush in our comfort that we won't stand up and slam our fist on the table and demand? It really is most of the problem our fault because we're not standing up and letting our government know we're not going to take it anymore?
I think part of that is, yes, but also, you know, we have so many people who have been brainwashed by the media for decades, has been brainwashing Americans into thinking that, you know, we are bad, we're racist, we should feel guilty for the hard work that we've placed our families in, and that's wrong. I think that we need to stand up for what's right in our country, and it's not our fault, the United States' fault, that we have a Constitution that we've worked out, and American ingenuity has been very prosperous for our country. And it doesn't, we're not holding any other country back, Zeb. It's just that way our beliefs and our Constitution allows for these freedoms and liberties for inventions, and people to work hard will benefit from the fruits of their labor. Why can't other countries emulate the same what we have? But no, instead they want to come over here and steal and just feed off of the hardworking American. It's better to teach them to fish, Zeb, than to just give handouts.
That's right.
And we certainly must demand as Americans that the fact that we need to know who's here, and we need to go back and make sure that those who have given access to our country, especially those who were given access during the previous administration, that they are extremely vetted. We have too much to lose. We've worked very hard for this country. We are certainly not going to be giving up the lives of our loved ones just because of these politicians want to be reelected and treated like royalty rather than serving Americans. You know, they are really giving us a bad deal. Or I could say something else. They're really giving us a bad deal, and they absolutely know what they're doing, and it's intentional.
You know, one last thought here, Maria, that I wanted to ask you about. We have heard so much about how the Democrats are yelling and pandering for a blue wave at the midterm elections in November. I'm afraid, very much afraid, of the socialism that has engaged itself in the Democratic Party to the far left, and I'm very afraid of any kind of a blue wave or even a blue trickle coming up in this election or the one in 2020 for the presidency. What are your fears about how the Democratic Party has changed?
Well, I noticed the Democrat Party changed years ago, and that's why, you know, I'm Republican, but also I don't agree with some of the Republicans. You know, I want to place America first, just like President Trump does. And, you know, we're asking for the very basic ZEB, and, you know, the fear is that some people might think that socialism is chic or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it isn't, and I think that maybe some of the youth are brainwashed with that, like this woman who was elected in New York.
Right.
But also, you take a look around in Idaho, and you can see that it's not the same. Your listeners can look around their neighborhoods and see the poverty and see that their dollar isn't stretching as far as it used to be. The methamphetamines there in Idaho is terrible. In fact, Idaho, a small state, has found itself on the FBI's one of its hottest and most problematic for drugs. And this is a small state, and it's a beautiful state. I've traveled through there. I was in Washington State for, 13, 14 years. Love the area, but look, the left has taken hold of it, and I think some common sense needs to be injected into that Democrat Party.
Absolutely. All of this plays a big part in the immigration problem, legal and illegal, in this great United States. Maria Espinoza, the National Director of the Remembrance Project, which honors and remembers Americans and legal residents who have been killed by illegal aliens. Maria, God bless you, and please come back soon.
God bless you too, Zeb. Thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Wonderful lady right there, Maria Espinoza, and I really appreciate her coming on the program every time she gets a chance. Excuse me, I have no idea what happened to the old voice, but we'll try to get it better by tomorrow. And we're going to have a weather forecast right now, brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrosmeats.com. Oh, with all the barbecuing going on out in these hot summer days and nights, don't forget they've got all the marinated pork ribs for only $1.99 a pound. They've got barbecue packages starting for $99 each, and one has the tri-tips, and oh my goodness, all the delicious meats, beef, pork, and chicken. Check it out at Scarro's Meats. The number to call, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Good Monday, and here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting some precipitation for today. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are expected mostly in the morning and then again as we enter into the evening hours. Other than that, partly sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 90 tonight. More isolated thunderstorms could continue with a low of 60 tomorrow. Back to sunshine and relatively hot. High of 90 degrees is what we're expecting. Looks like clear skies and a low of 60 tomorrow night. By Wednesday, sunny and mid-90s. And as we make our way towards the weekend, Thursday, expecting sunny skies, high of 90. And Friday, maybe some rain showers, possible thunderstorms, high of 93. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And by the way, don't forget to all the delicious meats at Scarrow's Meats, whether it's the breakfast bacons, all different kinds, or the breakfast sausage, the bratwurst, and like I said, the marinated pork ribs. Oh, all your barbecue meats are right there at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, and the telephone number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Wheels, I'm going to have you maybe do me a favor in a minute with a special little tune to lead us up closer to the news. I've just lost all the gas in my throat this morning, and I want to remind everybody tomorrow on the program, Deanne Cash Taylor is going to be on for the Oakley Pioneer Days tomorrow morning at 9:06, and then, of course, at 9:30, we've got Vicky's Country Garden answering all your gardening questions. Following that, of course, the Stoats Ag Minute with Vic. These are wonderful people, really supporting agriculture. And then, of course, at 10:06, we've got Dr. History coming on. And then we're going to have the CEO of RCAF USA, Bill Bullard from Montana, on our program tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that. Don't forget our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We really appreciate everything they do in serving you. Like if you're getting ready for a road trip, don't you forget they've got all the different tires, all the tread designs for your car, pickup, and SUV, and they've got many of which are on sale, like the Eclipse tire for your car, all-season tread, advanced noise reduction. It's on sale right now at all 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, too, they've got a free pre-trip safety check. What does that mean? Well, you just drive in, they'll check your air pressure in your tires, check your brake components, they'll check your wheel alignment to make sure there's no tire wear and that you're not out of alignment. They'll check the front end components, the shocks and the struts and the battery, including a load test. They want you to have a good, fun, safe road trip. Stop in and see them today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wheels, are you by the microphone over there?
I am, sir.
Boy, I've lost my gas this morning. My old throat's gone. I think what I'll do is maybe have you play a patriotic tune and then wrap it up for me today, and I'll kind of sit back and I'll get the old gargle and go brrrr like that, and hopefully I'll feel better by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm going to be looking forward to talking to you in the morning, so I hope that this is just a one-day thing and that you'll feel a lot better.
Well, you don't want to have 2 days vacation by any means. Anyway, I appreciate everything you do over there, and tomorrow on the program we'll saddle the horse for 3 hours. At 8:06 we'll start things off. And by the way, we've added an addition to our ending comment on the program, thanks to that ditzy professor over at the University of Wyoming that wants to exclude the name Cowboys from their university. We always say at the end of our program, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more Cowboys. Absolutely. Wheels, I'm going to let you have it for a tune or two, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. God bless.